Hey everyone, welcome to the Fifth Journey. We actually have a sponsor for this video. This is the Saker 4-in-1 Painter's Accessory Tool. I think they saw that we were at the point where we were painting the house and going to be staining some trim and stuff here hopefully pretty soon. And I've got some doors here that I want to get stained. We're probably just going to get these stained and set off to the side. I don't know when we're going to get around to hanging them, but I wanted to make sure we got this video out for our sponsor. So hopefully these will save us some space. As you can see, usually I stack them up along the wall. I can stain one side and I've got to let it put up against the wall, let it dry, then come back, flip it, and stain the other side. The nice thing about this tool is I should be able to stain one side, get the door flipped over, and it holds about 6 inches off the ground. Then I can stain the other side, and then I can stack them up vertically on top of each other. Not only will it save time because I can stain both sides, but then I can also stack them up and save a lot of space. So I hope this will work out pretty good. I'll do a quick unboxing and then we'll get to staining these doors. Okay, the people at Saker sent us 4 of these boxes, which gives us 12 brackets in all. So each bracket, I put one on each side of the door, so I've got 4 doors I can do here. Of course, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 doors I want to get stained. So we'll be able to test this out on 4 of them anyways, and then the rest of them will have to stand up against the wall. So it'll be a good, actually be pretty cool because I can see if it's easier to use these or go with the old method of just putting them up against the wall. Well, that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot to unbox here. So what we'll do is we'll screw through this side that has a little star pattern on it, and the back is smooth, so this will fit against our door. Came with a set of screws. So when it's screwed to each 4 sides, it will hold the door up that high off the ground. Then when you go to stack them, it'll sit like that. The next door will sit on top like that, and they lock in place. Okay, then I'm going to start with my smallest door first, which is a 24-inch door, and that's going to go between the power room and the stairs. So when I was looking at other people using these, one of my concerns was, you know, you got to figure if these aren't screwed into the exact same spot on all 4 corners, then they're all going to get out of order. And so I was kind of hoping there was going to be some sort of bracket here or something to help you line them up evenly on all 4 sides. And I don't see that. So we're just going to have to do our best guess. Oh, yeah, I just thought of another problem. This is a 24-inch door, and then I have 32-inch doors, and I have 30-inch doors, and I even have a 36-inch door. So none of these are going to line up. The only way they would line up is if this 24-inch section, all these doors, these are positioned in the exact same spacing. So because this is my smallest door, that's really the only way I'm going to be able to stack these, is if I did all my spacings at 24 inches. Now when these are set up here, these will also rotate, so I can flip the door over. But if this is centered and my door sticks out this far, I can't flip it anymore. So there's another drawback to these. I suppose a way around that would be to create a bracket where all of these are spaced at the exact same distance, and then you screw that bracket onto the board itself. I have to say I'm probably a good half hour into trying to get these brackets to work, and I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm impressed yet or not. So the biggest problem I'm seeing here is I had to add this strip so that these brackets will line up with the next door. This is a 24-inch door. I'm spacing these out so I can stack this on top of a 30-inch door. But this has quite a bit of wobble to it. So my concern, of course, is when you're staining, you're rubbing your stain on back and forth, and that's going to move this quite a bit. So it may happen is when I'm staining this, shaking back and forth is either going to break that screw, or because you gotta figure I'm going to stain this probably twice, and I'm going to sand it, and I'm going to polyurethane it twice. So that's a lot of wobbling on that screw, and it may wobble it back and forth so much that it just ends up breaking or wallers it out, and it doesn't stack right. Now if you're spraying these, if you were to have a paint sprayer and you're just shooting your doors, that would be fine, because there's no rubbing back and forth to get your stain on, there's no painting your lacquer on, there's no sanding it down. I'm just going to tighten up my screws all the way around this 24-inch door, and then when it comes to polyurethaning, I'll loosen them up so it's not going to be locked in there really tight. And then I'll go ahead and do my 24-inch door and my, I guess I could do all the other ones. I'm still going to stick to the same plan because the only brackets I'm using is on this 24-inch door. So if I keep everything tight on the staining side, hopefully it won't wobble that much. And then when I come to polyurethaning, I will loosen it up. That way I don't polyurethane my bracket to the door itself. So we'll give that a shot. Since I've already spent a good half hour trying to figure all this out and getting this bracket made, I might as well use it instead of just wasting all that time. Okay, I've got a good portion of the door done, and it turned out really nice. I like pine. I know it's a soft wood and it tends to show dents and dings a lot easier, which is fine because we're kind of doing a barn house theme and you typically get dents and dings. But the veining is really big in pine. You get these really, really defined veining, whereas if you were to do oak, oak is a very fine grain and it doesn't show up very well. I personally don't really like oak that much. So one thing to note when you're staining is you want to go with the grains. So at first I stained down this board, then I turned and went this way. I didn't go against the grains. And then when I got to the edges, you can overlap a little bit, but then just make sure you wipe as close as you can in each direction, so you don't get weird stain and smudge lines going through. Right now, to get into the grooves here, I'm just using a foam brush because I'm going to have to change my method on that because I don't think this is going to last with rubbing along these sharp edges like that. So I'm going to have to get a bristle brush, will probably work a lot better. Pine and any wood is going to shrink and expand during the changing of the seasons. And what I see in a lot of other houses is that they'll stain their doors, but then in the wintertime especially, it'll shrink and you'll end up with this white line or this unstained line. And that's because your door is shrinking and the part that you stained or didn't stain is now becoming exposed. So I always get a lot of stain and push it way down in there and make sure that it soaks in, because as it soaks into that crack and soaks out, hopefully when it shrinks you're not going to see that. And all I use as a rag, this is just an old sock. I think socks actually work really well. Turn them inside out, and that's where most of the fluff is at. And it really works really well for staining. So let's fold it up, stay in the direction I need to go, and it turns out pretty good. Okay, I got the first side of the 24-inch door done. And I like the way it looks. I like the veining, I like the dark color. We chose to go dark again to get that kind of older house barn feel. You don't see, most modern houses have really light trim or white trim. I've been in enough of those to know that they don't hold up over time. They start looking pretty bad. Dark trim hides a lot of dents and dings and scuffs and things like that. Plus I think it looks, I don't know, it looks good to me. But I think it's working out pretty good. Got a couple smudges I need to work out, and then see how well that works. So I'll go ahead and flip this one over, get crack on that one, get them done, and jump to the other ones, and then we'll come back and see how well the stacking works. I plan to have this piece on the end so that I could stack the doors up by lining up the brackets has failed. Because what I didn't take into consideration is that now this is pushed out 3/4 of an inch on both sides, so they don't line up anymore. Okay, I've decided to switch back to how I've usually stained doors in the past. That's basically just setting up a couple sawhorses and staining them and putting them up against the wall. I don't think this is a bad product, but for what I'm doing staining wise, it's just not ideal. Reason being is that when you're staining and you're rubbing back and forth a lot, you know, these tend to shake on you, and of course you can't stain the bottom or the top section, which you really don't see, and I can always touch that up later, which is what I intended to do. The other problem I had is getting the doors the same width. You kind of have to do them all the same width so that you can stack them, because your spacing between your brackets has to be the same. Well, this is a 24-inch door, this is a 30-inch door. I was going to do a 36-inch door next, and of course it doesn't work very well. I could space them all out 24 inches, so I would do this one first, see at 24, make this one 24, put on the bottom of that door like that at 24. But then I'm doing a lot of extra measuring and taking a lot of extra time. But if you were spray painting, maybe even rolling doors that are all the same, so if they're all the same size doors and you're just going to spray them and flip them and spray them, I could totally see that being amazing. And I will definitely hang on to these so that when I do a project like that, I can definitely try that and see if it'll work. But I could definitely see where that would come in handy to be able to lay those on the ground, you know, shoot a coat of white on them or whatever color you're painting, flip them, shoot a coat, go on to the next one. That would be definitely pretty handy. So good product, but for what I'm doing staining wise, it's just not, I don't think it's going to work out for me. I took a long time getting those stained and a long time trying to get it set up to figure out how I'm going to make it work. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to using a couple sawhorses and throwing a rag on top. I'll stain one side, set it up against the wall, and then by the time I'm done staining all these doors, I can come back, flip this one over and stain the other side, set up against the wall, and be good to go.